Hello, we're going to get started on our Christmas project, and it is going to be a very fun, silly project. Here we go, right here. This is my elf, and we're going to turn him into a puppet. You're going to learn how to do some very simple shading and highlighting to make your puppet look very interesting. Now yours could be a Christmas elf, a Santa Claus elf, it could be a Keebler elf, it could be a shoemaker's elf. It's your choice what you want to turn yours into. So you're going to start today with a sheet of white paper. You're going to need a pencil, a black marker, and crayons, and that's it. We are going to fold your paper in half, short side to short side, match up your corners, and crease it. Okay, so this is my fold side right here. I'm going to take what is the top edge of my paper and I'm going to bend it so that it lines up with that fold edge, and I'm going to crease. I'm going to flip the whole paper over and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up the open edge with the folded edge, match up the corners, and crease. So if you do it correctly, it'll look like an M or a W from the edge. We're going to take one side, the bottom side, and we're going to fold it back down. So if you look at it from the side again, you have a letter V, another letter V with one really long leg on it. So the key to this puppet is making sure the top half of the elf is on the top of the paper, or the top fourth of the paper, and the bottom half of his face and body are on the bottom fourth of the paper. So to get started, I'm going to start with the mustache. So about the middle of the paper, I'm just going to start with two curves. Now my mustache can continue on to the bottom or right past the fold, and you can decide what kind of mustache your elf has. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then right back up over the fold. You can kind of make the bottom of the mustache if you like. I need to even mine out. Next, I'm going to start the nose, so I'm just going to start with an oval above the mustache, and then just a letter C on each side. Maybe a little bit bigger there. You can make any kind of nose or eyes that you want. So next I'm going to do eyes, and I'm just going to start mine with a line. This helps me make them pretty even. If I do that, it kind of looks like he's sleeping. I'm going to add just a big curve on the top. Let's see, that looks pretty good. And of course you can make any kind of eyes that you want. I'm going to have my pupils in the corner here and a little highlight on the eyes. Now if you want to add any kind of details, now's the time to do it. I'm going to put some eyebrows on. Alright, so I'm going to close up my elf's face with a curved line on either side. And I'm going to put a hat on the top of them. So when I start my hat, I'm just going to put a curved line across his forehead. And I'm going to make a big letter C that goes down just past the curve for the hat. Backwards letter C on this side. Connect them together. I'm pretty close to the top of the paper, so usually I would go right off the top of the paper. And that's fine, you can definitely do that. I'm going to show you how I would make a hat though. If I had more room, I would make the curve a lot taller. But I'm just going to bring it over to the side. And I'll put the other side of the hat just coming off. And if you want to do a different kind of hat, you should do a different kind of hat. There we go. You can change it, make it however you want. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to make a beard on my elf also, so I'm going to start right up there from the curve. I'm going to come all the way down to the mustache. He's looking very Santa Claus-ish, isn't he? Now you might want to add details like ears. You don't have to, but you certainly can. And for the bottom lip, I'm just going to do 2 curved lines. Okay. Now to close up the beard, I'm going to come in and decide how I want to close it up. Put a little curl in the bottom of it. You don't have to do that, it's your choice. So I have the head here, I've got all my details on it. Now I'm going to start the body. For the body, I'm going to have a little set of overalls on my elf. So I'm just going to start with kind of a rectangle shape coming down from his mustache. His shoulders are covered up by his very large mustache. So I'm just going to make 2 more lines coming down right to the bottom of the paper. Now you can decide how fancy you're going to get. I like a good Norwegian elf here. So I'm going to give him like kind of a Scandinavian outfit. You can get as fancy as you want on the overalls. I'm going to have this arm coming down, so from the mustache where the shoulder would be, I'm just going to decide how wide my elf would be and make a line coming down. If I want, I can have another one coming up from the bottom of the paper just to show where the arm and the body are. Over here I'm going to try and have the arm coming up. So first I'm going to make a little bit of a shoulder so I know where that's going to be. And I'm just going to do a kind of long letter U. Tilt it out there. Maybe put a little bit of a cuff on the shirt. And then I have to think about the elf's hand holding something. So when you're holding something, we don't see all of your fingers. We're going to see your thumb coming across. So little letter U, little curve. We're going to see whatever you're holding. That guy was holding a hammer. Let's see, this guy's going to be holding a glue bottle. You got to use some glue when you're gluing toys together, right? So So I'm going to sketch out my glue bottle. You decide what your elf is holding. Come up with something clever. You might want to have that object so you can look at it. I always draw better when I can look at things. Okay, so I have that. Now I'm going to have my fingers coming around. And all I have to do for fingers are little ovals. If you want to get super fancy, you could put fingernails on them. You don't have to, though. Now, right here, it's a little bit tricky because I have that fold line. I don't want to have the fingers have to stretch all that way. So I think I'm going to try and squeeze all my fingers in down here at the bottom. I think I can fit one more right in here. If I went above the fold line, that would stretch all the way through the middle of the paper. So I want to stay below the fold line with the hand. Looks good. Now we're going to finish up the drawing with the middle. Open up our paper, and you can see how the glue bottle is now at the top and the hand's way down there. So we have to connect everything now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect his beard together and mustache. So you can see I'm just making my lines go from the top of the head to the bottom of the head. Now my glue bottle gets really big also. Pretty silly. Alright, to finish out the inside of the mouth, I want to keep my teeth above this fold line. Otherwise you're going to be able to see them. So I'm just going to start out with some rounded teeth. I'm only going to do 4 of them. And I'm going to put maybe a couple of bigger teeth up here at the top. You can decide how much detail you're going to do. I'm going to put a tongue in here with just 2 curves. I'm even going to make a uvula there, that little hangy thing in the back of your throat. I'm going to make the throat by doing a big letter C around that uvula. Now you can add other things into the sides. I had a candy cane. Maybe what other things could you have here for your elf? What does your elf do? Draw those in. Add something funny. Add something that would surprise me. Alright, next go ahead and take your black marker and trace over all of your pencil lines. When you're done with your outline, make sure you erase any extra pencil lines on your paper. We're going to get started with a little bit of shading and highlighting, and I'm going to make his mustache an orange mustache. So I have white for my highlight and a red, orange, or scarlet color for my shadow areas. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to color nice and hard with my white crayon. I know you can't see it, but you're going to be able to see it when I blend the orange into it in just a little bit. So I think I'm going to have a highlight up here at the top of the mustache. And I'm also going to have a highlight coming down the middle of the mustache. It's important to press nice and hard so that a good layer of wax gets onto the paper, and it'll allow the orange crayon not to put as much crayon down. Okay, I'm also going to take my shadow color, which is that red orange, and I'm going to go along the edge of the mustache. First I'm pressing hard, and then I'm just going to press medium to light. This is going to allow me to blend the orange right in to my shadow color. So now I have my highlight and my shadow areas, and I'm going to blend my orange into it. So I'm going to start right in my red orange, and I'm pressing pretty hard, blending my lighter orange, my yellow orange in there. And as I come across, you're going to see how much it lightens up when I get into that white area. It's quite a bit of difference from the shadow edge into the highlight. So I know that this is just a really silly project, but we always want to improve our skills as an artist, and this is a good way of practicing shading and highlighting. Now the way I have it set up is assuming that the light is coming from the front, so we're making the light areas in the middle look like they are closer to us by shading them lighter. They're getting hit by light first, and the areas at the edge are going to be darker because the light wraps around it, and they're a little further away. So hopefully you can see how much more interesting that is and how much more three-dimensional it looks when we do a little bit of shading. So continue on your elf, your puppet, and try shading in other places to make the body look nice and rounded. Start out with just a darker color, press hard, and then press medium. And don't forget to put your highlight in also. Where is that light gonna be hitting first? And then mix your medium tone in. If I wanted a dark green shirt, a good shadow color could be a blue color. But I was just doing green for my shadow and yellow-green for my medium tone. Take your time and make sure you press nice and hard with the crayon. As you do, the wax melts just a little bit to get good blending, and you're going to be really surprised at how amazing this looks when you're done. Alright, so I have finished up my elf, and hopefully you can see how interesting the shading makes it look. So now I'm ready to close my elf up here. Looks nice and normal. And then you get the surprise in there. To make it into a puppet, all you have to do is grab the paper from behind and pinch the folded area. And you should get a pretty cool puppet. I hope you had a lot of fun with this. Don't forget to click on the turn-in slide. Follow the directions on the turn-in slide to take a picture of your project and turn it in. Bye-bye.